no cars left.
Okay.
Mommy sees a car right.
Oh gosh.
2 cars right.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, is the car coming?
Checking for visibility.
Oh gosh.
It's stopping. It sees the cars.
Mom, why are
Okay,
you
it
so
sees-
freaked out?
It sees. Unlike every single previous Curvy Country Road Test that you've seen, like you're watching right now, I had to manually turn left to start the Curvy Country Road Test. Now that we're running FSD 10.3, you'll see here, it's gonna stop at the stop sign and then turn left automagically. This is a really incredible video that I have for you guys. This is the final video in a very long series. This is the Curvy Country Road test number 22. We are running FSD Beta 10.3 in this video. I was so impressed with this build. I know there are a couple bugs and I know there were a couple people that got this revoked. I, however, didn't have many issues with this. You might see a couple in this video, and that was regarding a left turn, according to Twitter, was the 10.3 bug. Now, what you can expect in this Curvy Country Road Test, I went on the same route for several software updates that took several years. So what you're seeing here is the final video in a 22 video playlist, which I will leave a link to that playlist up here in the corner if you want to go check out all those videos. It's really interesting to see how the autopilot system and now the FSD Beta software has progressed over time. So our first right curve coming up here, which is pretty easy. I did think it was funny that they turned on the turn signal briefly and then realized, oh, it's not a turn. So that was not me turning on the turn signal there. That was actually the FSD Beta. Now, I also want to mention, if you haven't watched any autopilot videos before, you're going to see a blue steering wheel illuminated on the center display, and that's what's going to tell you that this car is driving itself. So of course I'm monitoring, of course I'm going to keep my hands on the wheel just like Tesla recommends. But when you do see that blue steering wheel, you'll know that autopilot, or in this case, the FSD Beta software, is fully engaged and the car is making all the decisions in terms of how to turn, how to stay in the lane. So we have an aggressive right turn coming up here, followed by a very severe left turn that autopilot has failed on every single time. I'm gonna let the in-car audio play because my wife is pretty hilarious. But it's not gonna save
no
you.
way.
Oh
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, I think you're really over the line a little bit.
Just a little bit. It got a little bit on the yellow. W. So as you can see in past Curvy Country Road Test, I got the takeover immediately, and I think that had to do with the severity of the turn. And in other tests, it actually went off the road briefly, or I had to take over before it was going to go off the road. So really challenging curve here, but you can see the FSD Beta is able to slow down appropriately, although it did get on top of the double yellow line. There was no oncoming traffic, so we remained safe, and I was fully ready to take over at any moment. So now over this blind hill crest, you'll see up on the right, we have a bicyclist, which the car already identifies, and it starts to slow down and then identifies a path. You can see the blue dots heading out in front of the car. It identifies a path where it's safe to drive around the bicyclist safely. So impressive. It saw drivable space in that sort of middle median and was able to bypass the bicyclist. Super impressive with the FSD Beta able to make that decision instantly. Now we have a left turn coming up here, which has been a problem before for the autopilot system. So with the FSD Beta here, we are going to go around this. You can see that is on top of the yellow again, but let's take a look at what the previous test did. I had to take over. It was getting way too close to the edge over there. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Keep going. Yes, that's what I like to see, autopilot. So you can see in that last test where I actually manually slowed down the car, whereas in the FSD Beta, I did not touch the speed limit at all. It adjusted the speed appropriately and was able to make that turn successfully.
I'm gonna play Rainbow.
Oh, can you do Rainbow Road?
And
No.
this is a really
there you
cool
go.
feature too. Rainbow Road. But it doesn't do it right now.
My kids are definitely a fan of the Rainbow Road, but it does not work with the FSD Beta visualization, which I'm completely okay with. There's a lot of other colors on the screen right now. So we're coming up to that stop sign, and if you recall from previous Curvy Country Road Test, when I get to the stop sign, the car would fully stop. I could engage, but then I would get the takeover immediately because it would not allow the car to do turns. So here you go. It says takeover immediately, and then I would have to re-engage autopilot to carry on with the Curvy Country Road Test. Here you can see I actually zoomed out. Autopilot, or FSD Beta in this case, is still engaged and is preparing to make the turn. So it inches forward ever so slightly so it can see down the road and then determines that it's clear and then makes the right-hand turn. Super impressive, definitely getting onto this curvy 2-lane road. It does it with confidence and it did it really smoothly. Now, coming into the town, we have several instances where we pass speed limit signs. In each instance where it passes a speed limit sign, it will change the speed limit down just like regular autopilot. Now, coming into this town, if you've seen this country road test before, you know that there is a fork in the road where even if I turn the turn signal on, autopilot will not make that turn. So this is more of like a fork in the road. And so FSD Beta is able to make and determine that it needs to turn on that fork, so no disengagement here. It turns on the turn signal. The only thing that I did not like, which if you caught it, there is a yield back there. So we are required to yield to oncoming traffic. That's why you see me hit that video recorder to send this footage back to the FSD team, where it needs to stop here and check and make sure it's clear before it proceeds out. Now, of course, I looked over my shoulder and determined that it was clear. Otherwise, I would have hit the brake. Now, I know I said it before, but make sure you keep your hands on the wheel if you're testing autopilot or FSD Beta. I know it's challenging and I know the system is really good, but try to remain vigilant and ready to take over at any moment. Now, with this railroad tracks, I hope that they're able to identify those and slow down a little bit. I know it went over a little bit quickly, but now here, check this out. I'm going to let the audio from the car play.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, they're backing up. Oh gosh.
Oh, I wonder what this is going to do. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Well, that is new. And now it goes.
And there's...
I don't think it would go in reverse, though. Oh, what is it seeing?
That car's pulling out.
No way. Did it wait for that car?
Yeah, I think so.
What? That's incredible.
I know.
Because I didn't even see that car getting ready to go.
I didn't either. So really super impressive here. The autopilot does stop. I wonder, and I really want to know if it's going to go in reverse here. I know that Jeep had enough room to parallel park, but it was a tight fit for sure. Really impressive. And then what's even more impressive here is how the autopilot or the FSD Beta sees this car pulling out in front of us, and we didn't even see it. So really, really impressive. This computer-based system with all this vision is impressive. Now, at this stop sign in previous tests like this one at 48.30, we have to make a left turn. So even if I engage, I have to disengage autopilot to make that left turn. And now with the FSD Beta, as it approaches the stop sign, that you can see it turns the turn signal on automatically again. And here is the audio from the car.
Oh, it sees them.
Yep.
Go.
It had to wait for the people.
Look.
Oh.
Ah, the lady's hat dropped.
Oh gosh.
What do you think about that? Any oncoming? No oncoming. But it did it. Look at that.
That was the first time it's ever done that.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
And now for a little bit of a turn.
Now, as impressive as those two turns were, I want to point out this little feeler arm so you can see the predicted path of travel that the car is thinking about taking. And now I want to jump back into an older version. This is just regular autopilot where it definitely fails going over the double yellow line. Of course, I was still safe. There was no traffic, but it is definitely not as good as the FSD Beta. Again, this is version 10.3 and super impressed with this so far. Really excited to be able to test this for you guys. If you want to see something more unique or specific with this FSD Beta, leave a comment down below and I will try to do a video on that specific test request. Again, audio coming from the car. My worried wife was just too good not to include.
Oh,
You ready?
Oh, the Jeep.
It slowed down. Look at that.
Oh, but the Jeep is over here a little
So
bit.
it came over there a little bit. Wow. Wow. How do you feel about that? That was nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah.
Exciting.
The
But
Jeep's also like,
did you see how it adjusted the lane position with the Jeep? In previous tests, when people would pull out in front of us here like this truck does, you can see that the autopilot system doesn't really slow down, and I did end up kind of veering towards the edge, so I had to take over. Now in this instance, look at the Jeep and look at FSD Beta. You'll see the blue line shift over to the right side a little bit as it adjusts the lane position over. Now take a look at the feeler arm. I'm gonna run this back and you can see it kind of bounce back and forth, and that's where autopilot has failed, but FSD is smart enough to realize that we are going straight. Now again, I'm gonna speed the footage up here because we're going behind somebody who is trying to get a 100 safety score, aka driving really, really slow. A couple more turns in the forward direction. I'm gonna jump back to the car audio.
This is better than autopilot. It's better than Rainbow Road. It's better than anything I ever seen. I haven't seen too.
Now I definitely want to stress that this FSD Beta, again 10.3, is so smooth. It feels really smooth. Definitely compared to other tests where it felt like this one here, it came in way too fast and then only slowed down at that hill.
You can also use the Cybertruck for everyday adventures too.
Yeah. You never know when you're gonna need a Cybertruck.
Oh boy.
Because you might have it for adventures like that turn.
Now that you've seen clips of 2 previous tests, you can see the FSD Beta, although we are following a very slow car, and in my experience, following a car definitely makes the autopilot system perform better, but this FSD Beta is super smooth going up and around that blind left-hand curve. Now going into the last right turn in the forward direction, you can see that it's doing a beautiful job. Again, I think kudos goes out to this grandma driver in front of us going now 25 miles an hour. So they do speed up a little bit, and I'm gonna speed up the film going into our last curve here in the forward direction, but I think that it's a little bit easier for the FSD Beta here because now this person in front of us is going 23 miles an hour. So let's jump now to previous builds where you can see that nobody in front of us, but it's definitely coming in and doing a decent job with autopilot on that last curve.
And if we had that Cybertruck, you would definitely just say, hey, let's go over them.
Yeah.
Because
Like no problem.
So now we're going to go in the reverse direction. I left some of this in-car audio from some of my favorite clips of my kids talking, definitely about the Cybertruck or autopilot, because this is kind of the last hurrah of the Curvy Country Road Test. This is the final in this very long series. You can see that the FSD Beta is able to crush these first 2 turns very smoothly. Nobody in front of us slowing down to 28 miles an hour, making me as the driver and my wife feel very comfortable and confident in this system. So coming up here on this blind left curve, she does get a little concerned because it does get a little bit close to that double yellow, but it's still doing a really good job maintaining that more center lane position, didn't go all the way over. Now here you can see it is almost perfect, so I'm speeding up the film and it is doing a fantastic job. Again, I want to stress that on the forward direction, there was 0 interventions, 0 times that I had to take over as a driver, even going through that smaller town. Now in the reverse direction, you're gonna see that there is also 0 interventions, completing the Curvy Country Road Test and passing it 100%. That T intersection here in the reverse direction is a little bit easier for the autopilot, and you can see no challenge at all for the FSD Beta to crush that portion of the test. So still speeding up the video here until we get into that little town. So coming over this little hill here, it's going 38 miles an hour. I definitely want to see it slow down a little bit sooner here and comes in a little hot around this curve. And you can see after the curve goes 23 miles an hour. So it almost realized a little bit late, like, whoa, I probably should have slowed down, but still no disengagements here from me as the driver. Now back up to 35 miles an hour, doing a really good job maintaining that center lane position until we hit the speed limit sign when it goes down to 28 miles per hour. Now that we're coming up on a really hard turn, I want to jump back to the previous test where I slowed it down, just autopilot here, slowed it down completely, and it still gave me the takeover immediately. You could see that it just would not make that aggressive or that sharp of a turn. So let's see what FSD Beta does here. Doing a really good job maintaining that center lane position around this right curve, but here is the challenging left curve with a little kind of messed up intersection. You can see that it turned on the left-hand turn signal, a car is coming, and a car is behind us honking, and I do give a little tiny tap to the accelerator to kind of get the car moving, and I think that has to do with the 10.3 bug that I did hear about on Twitter, and I think that's why they kind of pushed everybody back to 10.2, and some people just lost FSD altogether. So now we're making a right-hand turn at the stop sign. Again, the blue steering wheel is on. I did not disengage. I simply gave a tiny little tap to the accelerator pedal just to kind of get it going. It almost like just stalled out kind of mid-turn. I think it thought it was a left-hand turn, then realized that it was part of the road, and I think that's what confused it. Again, with those railroad tracks, I want to see the autopilot identify where the railroad tracks are and slow down a little bit, just like a regular human driver would do. Of course, if I'm going over railroad tracks, I'm not going to go there at full speed. I'm going to slow down a little bit to make it a little bit more comfortable for me and everybody else in the car. So now we have a left turn coming up here, and the autopilot is trying to identify that yield. Almost threw it off. If you saw, there was a little, that finger that goes out in front of the car got tricked back there with that yield turn lane. So here we are. We're making that left-hand turn. Does it a little bit slower, but still impressive relative to that tricky intersection there. So now we're heading out of that town on a higher speed road, and again, at each speed limit sign, similar to autopilot, the speed is adjusted through the FSD Beta, what you have set in the autopilot. Now our left-hand turn is coming up here, and for this left-hand turn, you can see that the autopilot or the FSD Beta has put on the left-hand turn signal, and I'm going to jump back to the car audio for this turn.
Gosh, that's so scary.
We did it. That's good. So a very smooth left-hand turn, and me as a driver feel very confident as well because I'm able to see down the road and see that the path is clear. So here is another aggressive right-hand curve, and you can see the FSD Beta is doing a great job there maintaining that center lane position, even though there is an intersection close to that curve where the double yellow line is limited in that center part of the road. Now I am speeding up here, but don't worry, I'm including every single bit of the footage here, not editing at all, so you can see that there is 0 disengagements required or 0 interactions from the driver other than maintaining my hand position on the wheel. You gonna look?
Mom, we're not too close to the curve now.
Oh, that was better.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, go down.
So it definitely did a lot smoother, and I got the wife approval on that last right-hand bend. So if you remember in the forward direction, that was pretty severe, and it kind of slowed down significantly, but it definitely felt a lot more smooth coming in the reverse direction. So we have a couple more curves, and that is it. The FSD Beta 10.3 was able to, there is the last curve, able to complete all these curves in the Curvy Country Road Test 100% without me having to take over or disengage the autopilot. That's it for the Curvy Country Road Test series. I really hope you guys enjoyed it just as much as I did. Really enjoyed testing it for you. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching. Share this video with a friend, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. As always, see you in the next one.